This is IRL, written by Tommy Pico and narrated by Tommy Pico. I text Gerard, do you want to come over? Watch me stuff swim trunks into a weekender bag and maybe a movie? Ugh, regret is the gift that keeps on giving. I think it was Sontag or Sonic the Hedgehog who said, just dash, dodge, weave faster than you can think, and there's no time to shame spiral. Crushing on Muse, whose even slight squint burst me into high July while dialing, essentially, a trick. This is my argument. Muse crashes into the edges of my nights, isn't crushing, doesn't love me, doesn't have his shit together, though neither frankly do I, but yanks me and my hand onto the dance floor until tilt-a-whirl and goes on like land, just accumulating in my eyes. Gerard is a grown-ass man. Sly winks, snakes free drinks from the bar because he can pay for the expensive ones, all calm and body and blue. And all Muse and I do is wander from party to party, pop off with Popov or Georgie or Poland Spring, whatever is deeper than well and gives you a hangover just riding the subway home. Lavender candle, string lights, sage sticks gathered by my brother from the res to smudge my new apartment. Staging, I've learned, can be just as important as what you whisper into Gerard's ear when you set the Espelon down on the end table beside him and blow a little and back away slow. Locked eyes. My roommate Jess is a singer/social worker going on tour next week. Danny's in Baltimore, Deegs visiting parents, so I'll have our 4-bedroom apartment all to myself when I get back from the Hamptons. Today, a roach died under my keyboard. When I sat down to play, I saw a leaf and bent to pick it up. I touched the stem, but it was antenna, and I screamed bloody murder, and Jess ran in with a napkin, scooped it up to heaven. She's in the other room humming, "We found love in a hopeless place." Struts in every 10 minutes, asks my opinion of the design of the t-shirt she's making for her tour. Higher, lower, bigger, smaller, left, right, etc. Then does the exact opposite of what I suggest. And I'm like, why even ask? She blinks, stands there for a second drag from her cig and walks back to her room. 10 minutes later, she busts back in and asks, do I like where she wrote the band's name? I blink, stand there a second, look down to the swimming trunks half-crammed weekender bag. She laughs and says, touche. Gerard is not coming over. Which almost makes me mad, but he says sorry, says he wishes he hadn't made plans, wishes he could be with me, and the phrase be with is a deference to a kind of growing infection. I mean, affection inside of him that's not growing inside of me, so I don't respond. If he said, I'll fuck you Tuesday, I would have smiley face, smiley face, smiley face. If Muse ever texted me, I would smiley face, smiley face, smiley face. If Muse texted, I want to be with you, I would have a minor coronary incident, would have to dictate this from Woodhull Medical Center, as I surely would have passed headfirst into the evening's net of basket of hammer of stars. There's my body, and then there's your body. Basically the plot of every Beyoncé song. Don't write heavenly body, don't write heavenly body, don't write heavenly. Let's call Muse a heavenly body in the sense that I can't even think about it. Embodiment of abstract concept. Comedy. History. Bag of salt and vinegar chips, stellar dimples, his palm on the support beam behind you, beside your hip, and leans in the flood of his breath, the stuff of myths. Gerard has scooped shoulders in a way that's easy to clock. In an effort to protect the heart, shoulders pull forward. I sit scooped shoulders at the computer. Jess walks in again or doesn't. I can't tell because I'm horrified at the internet. Like alcoholism, oppressive and consuming occupier God. Plus, friends posting about suicide. Not like famous suicides or like Wilkes, who says, when the world goes to shit, she's going. She and her cat, Chairman Meow, are going headfirst into the oven, which is romantic. No, like actually committing suicide. like Darren in 7th grade with motor oil, or my Uncle Stoney with a shotgun, or Gio and Beam in Guadalupe. 3 siblings, each shook from life in different car wrecks, each, what's it called? Risk-seeking behavior? Each of them a kind of suicide that we don't talk about as suicide because we're Indian. And who's listening? People driving drunk or huffing paint and glue for the vapors because gripping knotted darkness, no way to lift out of police sirens, knives and night fights, history class, 1 paragraph on your time with the land, shrinking dendrites of chronic stress, the impulses slow. Tinfoil in windows. When cultural inheritance is generational trauma, hunted by governments, by Spain, by Mexico, by the United States, by pathogens, by black mold in shitty mobile homes, being sprayed on like roaches by Catholicism, by crack pipes, by tweakers, by Chupa Chup with his shotgun. Mom answers the door and he's hollering, "Punkin?" My dad said he was gonna pay my fucking license plate. But my dad, fathoming the idea of and being tribal chairman is away on business or a binge, and my mom, after her shift at thrift store at RV park, permed curls, takes a drag of her cig. Slow, locked eyes. Takes the license plate from Chupa, sets it on the linoleum, paints the California orange or whatever, never leaving cig, hands it back to him and says, "Leave." In a way that I've never been able to argue with. Lucky pulls out a rifle, points it at me and my dad. I duck behind the dash faster than my brain could tell me because I was taught to do this. I have a machete under the bed. Mom screams at the cop, "Let her go, you red-headed fucker." Someone throws a bottle or a rock. Tony falls back, the blunt force of his trunk on the floor, the knife. We pull up to the scene and Bunty, still screaming, doesn't know that's his trail of grated skin on the asphalt, being sprayed on like roaches by capitalism, by metabolic disease, by team sports names, mascots, by general invisibility of being a function of the past, being a feature of the land, by forced Indian boarding schools with 20% mortality rates, by the English fucking language with its high beams in my face, and I'm totally caught off guard when Muse texts me, "Oh, don't respond, don't respond, don't respond, don't spawn, respond, don't respond," and then text 5 things in a row and fucking kill myself. I mean, my phone, delete Facebook because, okay, just because in general, just because you hate yourself doesn't mean you're allowed to be an asshole. Stop fucking posting about Klonopin or cutting yourself or throwing up. Save it for a shitty poem like a normal wretch. Boundaries aren't cages. A meter is a fine flute, but maybe nobody wants to hear you. Maybe you are just an asshole. I mean, you never really treat me that well. We just get comfortable with each other at a time when comfort, something come stop the shaking, is more important than privacy, so I turn my phone back on to text Michael. He's at work. I say, "Come after." He says, "Going out in Chinatown." And who fucking goes out in Chinatown after midnight on a Thursday? All I know are boys, 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 and I hate all of them. Stop fucking posting about how you want soup, or what's in your bathwater, or what color are your toenails. Just watch a porn and take a nap like an adult. Sit and scroll and fume and sit and scroll and fume and sit and scroll and fume and sit and scroll and fume, and that's how you catch the vapors. Music, museum, the tune of memory. The drinking fountains in Paris, the disappearing fog, Muse, a punk, alcoholic San Francisco early morning Polaroid of deep breathing in a tight sweater, burnt sienna, inviting oil slick rainbow, a copper jumpsuit draped on a lampshade, lipstick print on a bay window when the window is broken and nobody's home. Maroon road rage, the way you can't see stars in the city, but we have street lamps. Smudged yellow leather elbow patch on a smoking jacket, the brink of eyelashes, the clink of rousing from a nap, coming to or coming in or on 8 p.m. and I'm collecting Muse. Chasing, I'm watching him slip from one boy to the next. He's a British composer. He makes books in Baltimore. He's flying me to Lisbon. He's an actor, musician, packs me into a pop song. He's fucking my friend. I can't be in the same room with him. We're getting coffee. It's good to see you. I agree. He's coming to my B-Day party. I literally love his new BF. I'm sending him a DM. I just added him. Thanks for the ad. He saw my message, but he's not writing back. These are all the same essential mans. All of these Adams, all of these Bens and Rolls Royces and OJs and Lemonades and Jameses and Bacardi, stomach acid reflux, it keeps repeating on me, and I know I'm not supposed to use their real names. Where I'm from, in the valley I lived in for thousands of years, once someone has passed or pushed or pressed into the next life that I don't believe in, their name's forbidden. Reference them, but don't use the name because it distracts them from heaven. It sullies the peace they rest in. I don't want to be a sullier. I'm terrible in trouble. I flush at the prospect of being wrong, but I need a spell. A cave in the vapors, a trail. It can't always just be me stumbling alone head first into these bright things. Lead me back to the water of belief. Mina, Guadalupe, Gio and Beam, Stony, Ricky, Beto, Desi, Woody, George, Lula, Rhea, Robin, Bunty, BB, Tina, Lucky. Why am I the one left? Why do I have to know so many dead? People say Jesus all the time, and Jesus, somehow invoking Jesus, proffers a solace, sharp certainty, a get off the couch kind of guilt. Senators and shit, pundits and politicians and shit, a fiction to stop the shaking. Once, I have this convo with Jesus where I confess I can't take all this living, and he says the same thing. We know we're doing it slow, steady, instead of all at once like people with guts. Wine mouth and not smoking so much as sucking the cigs. We pop it to Beyoncé in his living room in San Diego, write raps and record him in his laundry room, garage band. We real queen. He reads me Kevin Killian and I read him Eileen Miles and drink all day and talk about books until we pass out. Our stars, our heads propped up in the morning and pick up where we left off. I meet him and know this is the most special human being on the face of the planet. Like, he real antidote. We fuck with boys on Grindr, but don't fuck each other because what we have is too pure for our bodies. And I understand, I totally, literally understand how having someone like Jesus can make sex seem profane, maybe? Or unnecessary, unmotivated. Jesus takes steps to cleave himself from the world, son of America, but I running start for the head first of stars. The vial is dry, overturned by the bedside. Did I drink all the antidote? Is there only enough for one of us? There's a throbbing light, a cursor, throbbing absence of light. Disappears, comes back, disappears, comes back, disblink appears, but leaves for longer and longer, and someday, I'm scared it won't ever come back. I know faith in absence. I'm scared, and their names proffer a solace. Mina and them, Turtle and Rosie and Polly and Quickbird and Tanny and Polly Jr. proffer a kind of power. America reclines, undying. I want America to know who is still dying for its sins. I want America taken alive with all my names. I have cocks in my eyes and songs in my stars, and so yeah, I fucking hate you for wanting to die. And I hate myself for thinking it might be for the best. There's a barb of feathers caught in the February of my throat. It's summer, I think. The bird calls in my belly vibrate to smoke and snuff. I want to be normal enough to fuck. Muse stops texting, the B-43 hits a pothole, keeps and it's summer, I think. And I hate nature, because every poem is like poplars and bunch grasses and peonies and shit. But the East River is ambling outside my window like holding hands with Stevie Nicks. So beautiful, right? But also deafening and kind of scary. And I feel small online and in real life because there's my body and then there's your body. And I don't think anybody's coming over tonight. Excuse me, I need to be alone right now. Is a bow tie of a phrase. So cute, right? But so pointless. The rooftop is a reflex of imagination in the sense that my landlord put a latch on the door, yet I have faith it's still up there. Similarly, I turn on all the lights, open all the faucets, run the hairdryer, fan, kettle, Frasier, by NPR, Syria blares up and through the principality of Bushwick. By G-Chat, and only by G-Chat is Muse in my bedroom. By Kat, by Jitty, by Danielle, there's art, which knee taps a thrill like wearing hairpins, a cloud lit from within, and someone in this wreck unironically says something about being with the big dogs, and the voice is coming from within my body. By books, I'm body beautiful with the big dogs, by the oracle of meter, aortic, epiphanic, epipenic, heartbeat of the streets and walkways and freeways and byways and one-ways and bikeways of the mind's nimble tug on the tongue of the page. Memory would be way less committed without the primordial guideposts of rhythm, cycles of turning leaves. Just look at fair weather Southern California. So pretty, right? But so dumb. So dumb. There's no last summer of your 20s, first winter of the rest of your life. There is blue marble sky. This may be the closest I come to writing an etiology of mnemonics. Wilkes texts, would I ever date a guy who rides a unicycle? Not just rides, she says, commutes. I see so much text all day. The doorway of my memory has shit typed in railway all over it. I see fonts in my dreams, oily strings of letters in the corners of people's mouths. Spit it out, she sends, yay or nay. I would have a hard time introducing him as my man. Hey, this is Terry or Gary or whoever. Hey, baby, I think you forgot your other wheel at home? She's a fiction writer, finishing a novel, so spinning me some yarn is no big deal. We're each other's biggest tool of procrastination. That vortex, nasty shapeshifter assuming more and more alluring forms. Text fistfuls of words we don't like and try to avoid. Primitive, inspire, denigrate, seminal, hysterical, ancillary, rage all day about whether words are forsaken, misogyny and racism coded into casual speech. If a definition runs wild from the origin of the word, is it wrong that I wince at the thought of telling people they inspire me? An insertion would prefer to say generative or refreshing. Then the whole damn day is over and I haven't written a goddamn thing. Exchange email passwords because we sometimes we freeze. Letters from editors or employers or exes. We have no secrets. Read this for me, please. But what then is privacy? I decide not to finger through your drawers when you're not home and no one will ever know. Sit alone with not knowing. I want to tell you a story. This is a traditional story. This story comes our way from the ancestors. This story is my story and the story of summer, and 9 stories tall grow the dendrical shafts of preconception. Rooftop parties are the payday of summer, and I tell Max, just so you know, when bird flu comes, chops humanity to a stump, I'm gonna be great. I hope you'll be too, smiley face. Tradition is a cage, like an Edward Curtis pick of high copper cheekbones, totemic, fabricated. Fear cages, feeds secrets. Faith is a privacy, a thing you don't have to explain. river of belief that one is owed an internal life, a rich vista of idiosyncrasies like looking at windows and wondering who's in there having sex. I don't want to set you up for a racial encounter, but Indians are reluctant to tell our stories to strangers. There's no such thing as Indian, but now there's no turning back. There's turning over, bounding out of bed and headfirst into the hammer of stars. Story is performance, contextual tradition, language class, billows like summer. Dictionary is a kind of blast of chill air. Language is living history class like you and me, conquest hardwired into lingua franca. Multiracial neighborhoods, parts of speech, laborious pidgin, tongues chopped and left writhing in the proto-memories of a drunk 20-something waiting for the ascenseur, fumbling for the words Zekt un Gaulois Blau at the Kaiser's imita, legs red redden, stomp the length of Boca Chica for pollo a la plancha, por favor. Who deserves your story? Not all stories. Not my story, my lol truth. Not life or livelihood or food. Who deserves this particular story you're blasting? My racist-ass password isn't up for public consumption. Your suicidal threats aren't up for my Facebook feed. Answers? Like cadence, like slang. Change with audience. Multilingual, flexible, the reflexive. They ask, what do Indians use to treat poison oak? Mabel McKay takes a drag from her cig on stage. Calamine lotion takes a puff of history. I slap myself. People know when they're being condescended to in another language. Just go to France. We suspicious. We know you people are only interested in the stories we gift. Fair weather, thrill-seeking, not concern, not, are you well-nourished? Not, are you currently suffering any chronic illness? Not, are you beaten at home? Not, how many of your relatives killed themselves? No, that would be too personal, irresponsible, out of the scope of too sticky, icky, no. Just convert to Catholicism, then they'll leave us alone, right? Just recount the scorpion trails. Just tell me about the lightning baskets, the bird songs. Sing us the bird songs. Art is not very kidneys. Your dialysis is not very well composed. History is way more important than corn syrup-based diets. Science is carbon dating ashes from stolen burial urns. Science is genetic heredity map, theories of the Bering Strait. Don't you want to know where you come from? We come from the Valley of the Captains. No, silly brown things. Where you're really from. Now, back behind museum glass, preserved for our children. Come on. We're basically doing you a favor. You don't want your stories wiped out when you are? Internalizing inevitable annihilation, the brain buffers. Alien invasion overlord movies are cute in a Monet way. I survived 7 generations into a post-apocalyptic America that started 1492. Maybe you'll live too. Breathless dash from this party to catch our train. People fumble for MetroCard. I slide mine in my front pocket when we leave the roof. Some of these fools are slow as shit. I shout over my shoulder, I'm catching this train. If you don't make it, you know where we're meeting up. See you there, is my lineage. Don't challenge Muse. That thing that compels you to sing. Don't then challenge it to a singing contest. Poor, beautiful Tamaris, singing prodigy, glory of the Cythera, lover of Hyacinth. Can't you just see him sashay? Seriously, who didn't love this Greek shit as a kid? So witchy and swishy. Muse takes his voice away. Amy Winehouse, too. Poor, beautiful Amy Winehouse, lost in the beehive. Muse is not, don't write it, amused. I'm scared of watching movies under a down comforter in the summertime with the undercurrent of AC being squeezed every now and then so good by Muse who breathes deep but barely knows me. Don't fall in love, don't fall in love, don't fall in love with Muse, duh! Muse is embodiment of abstract concept. Art, dance, astronomy, drama, heroic poetry, security, good God, edible underwear, pepperoni pizza, Jim Beam. You touch his shoulder and he scoops. Stab. You can't hold Muse because you're the side piece. Art is Muse's main squeeze. It's hard enough just not being muserable. I had a vision of love. You can't own Muse. Muse owns you. Surrender implicit in your relationship. When Muse is done, Muse leaves. Or you're in a shawl by the fireplace, rocking alone again. It's important to be alone again. Just what is so scary about the cave? I can hear my heart beating in there. I don't like it. In an effort to connect, fingers will click open more and more tabs. People say there are 3 muses or 9, sometimes 6 or 8, but we're friends now. I'm gonna crack open the mythology for you. Really? There are 4 states of muse: solitude, intimacy, anonymity, reserve. Solitude carries a deck of cards. Intimacy brought lube. Anonymity is here, I think. Reserve gives gift certificates, obviously. The influence of muse is not unlike being under the influence, the way a poem is spontaneously drunk on Robert Graves. The implications of muse pop, fizz in all directions: photography, printing press, telephone, flash fry, cave, etc. The temple of muse is all around you. Don't patronize me. Tradition is a cage. Conflict constant. The argument to post will take more on and more alluring forms. Muse must be chased. Vigilance is all that stands between us and a police state. Tell me as I switch between lenses, which is clearer, A or B? One more time. Okay, A or B? I can't ever see where I stand in the lineage of art, but I find being alone maxes out my HP, really makes me kinder. Gap between talking to mom versus talking to mom. Muse used to mean purpose in being alone. Muse is romanticized by the idea of possession, and Lord knows I can't live unoccupied. Information technology tastes more and more like pink marshmallow peeps, and all my relatives are diabetic. The metaphors age well. Our rent stabilized, take on new shapes. There's a great flood in the world of my head. The waves. Now, in my humble opinion, Muse grants you the right not to festoon your alone onto the feed. Whatevs. Discretion is alienating. Intimacy takes too damn long. And third thing, I love a good boast like I love a good gossip. I'm so good at being alone. All I need is my phone. Subway, elevator, drifting off in a convo. No one really seems to notice, occupied by their own gleaming pod of longing. I am the captain of my shit, possessed by the spirit of Instagram. I'm omnipotent on Twitter, on Blurb, on Vine, soapboxes on the street corner of my mind. Clear, boosted, boundless, something come stop the shaking, a sun to fly towards. I mean, something to do. Mimicry of purpose. The injury of hunger is death. The word of the day is glows. To explain away. Glowing gauze glozes the etc. Weather.com says stay inside forever or drop dead. We have ads for you to click. You and me? It's gonna take so long for us to know each other 10 years. I huff home from the Hamptons a little bunched inside. Witnessing luxury makes me feel like I can't say shit. Money is very sharp, very elbows and knees behind those pinchy cheeks. In college, I meet a Whitney, as in the museum, and I'm like, Whitney like Houston? Money is not amused. Life is moments in between a skipping needle. They say the key to appreciating the city is getting away. I cry in line at the bank. How to get away inside? Boys, burgers, booze. Smug American condemnation of China's media chokehold following the Tiananmen Square anniversary? How can they deny their barbarity? Really, America? That's a little too writing a poem and only talking shit on everybody else. Tyler and I are talking shit on everybody at this party. Boys are dumb, but we keep entertaining them. Music's too loud, but we keep shouting. Buying drinks is stupid, but we keep doing it. Anima Collective reminds me of being drunk before I was a drunk. Dude says he's moving to Thailand. Keep it light, keep it light, keep it light, keep it light. Isn't it under martial law? He blinks, says he has a half-Thai girlfriend and stops talking to me. Writers should never be the hero of their own work. Be a hero IRL or whatever, but don't write to be a hero. That's just disgusting. I pull Tyler from a burning building. I am lauded. The end. I tap Thailand on the shoulder. Tap, tap, tap. I hear protesters of the coup have been using that three-finger salute from the Hunger Games. Keep it light, keep it light. Come on, Teebs, you got this, bitch. Keep it light. I love the Hunger Games. I'm such a Jenna Malone playing Johanna, you know. Chop, chop, chop. I pantomime chopping into his crotch. If I was V for Vendetta, I would fucking kill myself, you know. He looks uncomfortable. I have an Uncle Chop, I offer. Keep it light. Come on, Teebs. Keep it light, you fucking... He drank himself to death. Skirt! Muse buys me a drink. I can't tell if it's a date thing or a friend thing. We were just at this show. This guy sings pretty songs about his brother going cold, and I know it and well up. When the ballad is about snow angels and giving them halos, I think someone is gonna die. Then Muse says, let me buy you a drink. We're rooftop drunk, flouncy, hitting on some convo about a snarky rebuttal of a snarky review of Patricia Lockwood's new book instead of that article about the refugees in Syria, 7 months in the Croc de Chevalier surviving on cats and dogs, diving down a tight cabin over blind water, a plane no one will claim to have found. Your last thought before the gutting panic, before the sure icy blackness. I'm a garbage artist. Which is my default well for light banter, TBQH. But I'm trying this new thing called Don't Be So Alienating. I'm giving Muse this look like, I'm only pretending I don't want you to kiss me. I'm withholding, in general. Surely Muse will want to kiss me because I appear disinterested in kissing. This is my technique. Lol, so far so alone. What the hell do you expect? Emotional transparency? What kind of artless simpleton says what they truly feel? It's hard to, quote, know, unquote, what you want. Articulating that is translation, and saying it to someone who could give it but might not is precipice, disorientation. You're at a rooftop bar, and it makes you nervous. Nearing the edge is threat of man overboard. Sometimes threat and consequence round like smoke in a black jar, meaning, say something, jerk, butts up against play the game, idiot. And the game is on a checkers board, missing pieces. There's pawns and dominoes and shit, a Monopoly thimble. Whose turn is it? I look into his bobbly eye pits. I got this round, he says. There's plenty Muse doesn't know me. Most everything about Muse is something I read on Wikipedia, don't really know. Not knowing is a privacy. I ask about Delphi, read all about Delphi, put on robes, make me look Delphic 10 minutes before meeting up, so I have spontaneous opinions about the caves, spears at the ready, very, so weird we love all the same things. So much info is disclosed from the jump. Profile pages, light Googling, yet this one golden nugget, tugging infection, can't make it through the cage of my lips. It's kind of exciting, having a thing to hide in the age of knowing everything all the time. You really got a hold on me. I resent you, Muse. How dare you be the arbiter of my self-worth? Chill out, dude, says Jess. She says, just give him a freaking kiss, and then I had to give it a try. Whatevs, Jess. That sounds like a movie. This is real life. The questions Karen, stones pile slowly inside until silence. Static is the enemy of decision, which, consequently, is how my mother gets kicked out of that cult in the 60s. Do you believe in Jesus, our Lord and Savior? I don't know. Do you believe our original, geez, sin begs cleansing? I don't know. Says she's too much of a sheep. Send her packing. In this way, the world of ambiguity has its hospitable continents, but the days owl onward. Confront the swirling panic of, do I live or leave? For people like us, isn't this always the question at the bottom of every question? Make a decision to cut emissions before greenhouse gases turn us into Venus. Let's be realistic. In one scenario, I turn right, New York is drained of moisture and combusts. In another, I turn left and go to the gym. Liking a boy, wanting to be public with that like, being all hey or PDA, is very grave for people like us. Secrets are quaint. Privacy is on its last leg. Leaving your status up to the feed, open to the scroll, who do you want knowing you're suicidal? The obvious answer is everybody, but the whisper is more particular, and people lean in. Who do you really want spying on you with milkshake and Valencia filter? Who you trying not to text, talk to, see you flawless on Lake Sebago? Who deserves to be bombed in selfies? What texture of the gray audience puts the firm in affirming? Hi, sorry, what's the Wi-Fi password? The connection rate goes up markedly the more questions you answer, the more apps upon which you spread your sex pixels. Survival and privacy do not hold hands in times of conflict, which includes not having been laid in a minute. Vibrating rings of a far-flung gas giant, what is lit from within versus what's reflecting. Innovative versus reproducing. Bacon versus babe. But baby, 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 baby. I want to be on the brink, learning. Note to self, asphyxiation. My brother has a minor coronary incident. We talk about being Indian. Who dictates identity? Blood quantum is an American invention whereby the Indian problem solves itself through assimilation. So you're like half? My date asks. My brother Johnny is on the tribal council. Says so many voting members live off-res. We have diff dads, so diff reservations, but the same nation? Res like neighborhood and genocidal legislation. How much Indian carries with you if you leave? My sis is a singing coach, does Broadway in the 90s. We have diff dads and childhoods. I meet her in 5th grade. My date makes a face like restless leg syndrome. TBQH, I'm so freaking tired of hearing about everyone's maybe Cherokee great-grandma like, it's past my bedtime. I touch the walls of her apartment and get the sense of people on the other side. Where I'm from, in the valley I lived in for thousands of years, neighbors live further up the mountain. And because we're Indian, when we say further up the mountain or behind the big rocks at the mailbox, we point with our lips. To feel a throb of life on a wall, to hear echoes of a TV versus echoes of nothing for miles. I crush hard on NYC. To have new things. I lay face down on the floor of her apartment and feel the bus on the street rummin'. The buzz. She tells her bodega peeps, this is my half-brother. And Auntie gives this look like, oh, uh-huh. I never heard the term half-brother before. Brother says he's sending tortillas. We're mixed blood, but full Indian. I could see, my date says, squinting, half Asian? Though everyone can tell I'm a fag. Part of me in sharp relief, a part of me half hidden. It's very Indian to watch AbFab because we're Indian and we're watching AbFab. You aren't very Indian, so when you watch AbFab, it isn't very Indian. There's no such thing as Indian, but there is an internalized kingdom of gnashing hands, a dubious relationship to facts. Is this a date or an interview, he asks. And this is the problem with dating on the internet. I look into a lot of fires, I say. So many wakes. The fire pit outside the tribal hall, cold gray dust the next day. In the valley I lived in for thousands of years, when someone shoves into the next life, people tell stories for the body, dance around the casket, weep, and even tell jokes. Stay up all night, dull eyes at the funeral tomorrow afternoon. Problem is, people die so often we never get to sleep. I sit by the fire in your mind, huff, stoke, rub. I am a ghost. I'm down another delta. You're lost at sea. Okay, he says. I'm not looking for anything super serious right now. Shade your eyes. The sparks are scattering as a sentence gives you the idea that sparks continue to scatter, a continuous present like a long exposure photo. Some things can go on forever, like Lupin You Da One by Rihanna, or the colonial legacy called Constant Debbie Downer. I find other people with internalized gnashing and have no gods, dubious of facts, and hate nature, and call them family. There's no post-colonial America. Look at the sun, so blind, or look away in denial, bunched and bloated, a mulch of bodies upon which we stack our lives. You know, it's the prospect of Muse leaving, threat of freedom, not Muse coming, threat of stains, that gets me on my pen game. My roommate Jess is a hollowing singer. Just forks away your insides in a way that defies apple butter. Science is a language of poetry, like perfume or music writing or Top Chef. What notes do you detect? Ways of translating experience. We watch a lot of Top Chef while chomping chicken fingers. Jess wants to be a poet, and I would literally kill this whole poem to vibrato on stage like her. She writes and I sing, in dreams, in the shower, but she's the singer and I'm the poet in our apartment above the chicken slaughterhouse. At some point, our arts diverge like the continents. Poetry versus song, very mind versus body. Why the borderlands? As the universe expands, it all moves slowly away. Today, I post to pick a Pangea on Insta for TBT. Even geography is about moving on. Being this close, but so far from our secret, not secret desires suggests a fate, a grouping of stars. But then, reading think pieces makes me want to barf. Our rooms share a wall. It feels like a metaphor, or more stark, like a wall. Wall, like a boor in a bar, friend of a friend or colleague, and you want to be farther, talking to the boy behind the boar, and a part of you does go, blank, blink, bye, Felicia. It's summer, I think, and feel more beholden to my body because people see me in white tees, no hoodie, so I eat less bread and think more about dreaming like almonds, which drain all the water in California to grow in this plastic bag at the Montrose bodega, but it's the only thing nearing real food here. I would literally kill this whole poem to eat like a kid again. More for fun than nourishment. No care, connect, concern that chili cheese on frost and on breaded meat does anything at all to the body frame besides the buzz. Papa picks me up from school. We drive through Jack in the Box because worms in the commod oatmeal that arrives on government trucks each month. Also, something to do. SoCal gridlock is skin-strippingly boring for a kid radio blasting who stops singing. Fear is a gift that keeps on giving, but the opposite. a series of horrors that reframe even the most passing interactions. Dying is a state of mind. Kids shouting, "Get off the bus! Stop singing like a girl!" Shavings of my will to live, lol, but maybe that's all childhoods. Ketchup must have been a eureka moment, like the discovery of vaccines, but the opposite. A weapon to never stop eating. Which soda would you like with that? I get a weird vision. His name is Chad. I discover speed, reading, Gertrude, Stein. In a poem, Sherman Alexie gives me permission to leave the reservation. I cut my long hair. Robert laughs, but after school cries to Grandma. Chad says hi in the hall. Oh, fuck, it's a crush. I have a crush on Chad, and Chad's not gonna wanna fuck my 230 pounds. I keep slapping my face in the mirror, so run every morning, drink gobs of water, swallow gumball machines of amphetamines. My frame swirls. One morning, I go blind in the shower for 20 minutes. I drink Mad Dog 2020 with white kids in the suburbs, listen to Riot Girl records at Becky's. Mars paints thick black lines on my eyelids. We smoke weed at La Tigra, copy our hands, our faces, our cheeks on Merit Xerox machine. These dudes slow down, ask us directions, and Eva says, "Can I direct your attention to the Smiths?" 151 bucket of rainbow sherbet and a roll of sweet tarts while footage of people jumping from the towers flashes on screen, and we sit there, stony quiet, just not knowing. Sai picks phantom glass from her heel for weeks. Me and Dana flip through mags and stare at Cold Stone ads saying someday we'll open our own franchise, but really? We just need a freaking sandwich. Cram into the back of Faith's pickup with the camper shell and titter around Hillcrest screaming, dizzy, dewy red fishnets, the Che, Lestats, Casbah. Kathleen Hanna is right in front of us. What the fuck? The mall, the malls, the endless outdoor stucco palm tree escalator mall of Southern California. Hip bones, but not far enough from home. Also, wanting Chad and William and Jace and Trevor and Brian and Angelo and Luis and Doug and Brad and crushing, none of them gay, sad face. Whenever anyone says something I don't understand, I think, shame on me, and go on like Horizon, largely featureless in your eyes. Or learn to say, what does that mean? Which is an actual vista, brewing a conversation but feels like a hammer of stars. Google search voice teachers. I strain to sing, to hear the bars. Muse entreats, can I say entreats without sounding like a fairy? Me, neck with this boy in line at the bar. Smashes our faces to get her. I mean, together. We kiss like sipping from a goblet. I pick strings of onomatopoeia from his lips at the California of our Netflix. Hi, I'm Jeff. We flip to see whose apartment, but it's no contest. I have my place to myself, but he has AC. Watch a throb of light leave Muse and enter Muse. Throb of light sprites from Jason to Jeff Muse. California affects need for closure, a heavy curtain, squeezes like a thing you just live with. The closure opens, unzips to pure, we're in a movie of my mind. We're reaching climate change, price point. I pay for everything. To stand, sit, run, etc., to hang out wherever is price of iced coffee, etc. I don't like this, etc. Cough it up. They say the key to appreciating the city is getting away. I cry in line at the bank. How to get away inside? Boys, burgers, booze. Wanting to get away is itself a kind of escape. Bodega sale on salt and vinegar potato chips. I stand scooped. Throb of light skips from Jeff to salt and vinegar afternoon. Fucking in a closet is basically every Hart Crane poem, yet there's something to be said about deleting all internet wisps of yourself. Go ham on real life. Being lonely gives you a poor sense of direction until, oh my God, Alex vibrates the smartphone of my heart at the backyard bar. Friends of friends and Max can't find him on FB or the RSVP list on the event page, and Alex becomes Muse. I sit scooped. A throb of light leaves salt and vinegar into Alex Muse, the very un-IRL mystic satchel of his LinkedIn. And I'm like, fuck reserve. And I'm like, give me all the knowledge. I'll take the too much of everything. I'll take shanks of desert refugees and tweets. My sushi brings all the boys to the yard, and Pretty Little Liars and TMI suicide crap and detox talk and even FB. I'll take it all back into me to internet stalk the shit out of this MF. The buffer of wanting crush to take effect inside the crush, this seeding, is like any dark you prepare for. Like sleep, like knowledge of death and exes' marriages. It's agonizing. It keeps me, the rag and bone ghosts of my sleep, tense. Wanting to be stolen wraps me in its fag fingers at the subway, behind the wheel, at signs for eyes, when I should be paying attention to ballet, musical, whatever art happens in dark rooms like womb. Muse, you can't stare too much into the sun of his answers. Friends wave away the idea of him like he smells bad. There's my body, and then there's your body. And somehow, you see a person where I can't even look long enough to form a lasting impression. Friend, you're essential, but there's so much you can't say to me right now, like, distance sucks. When you want his arms wrapped on your waist, slack on your pillow, under your head, in the June of your dreams, rollers whooshing up inside, rolling feeling, or arms on top of a mosh pit, lolling, weaving head over head, that gently deliver you to the muse. Sweat snuffs the body like fly paper, like tight sweater, will not evaporate. Somehow, this makes us less shy, knowing we're both disgusting. Equalizer, like drunk. I finally say the C word and you say the C word. A shared crush doesn't mean prospect, but it does mean a kind of privacy in the sense that it, the expanse of it, occurs only to the self. Crushing on Muse is compatible with the internet in the sense that internet is comprised of possibility, like book, reading, revealing what I'm really thinking. Muse the prospect does not compute, like commuting on a unicycle, in the sense that it's chosen a direction from which wheels, tracks, branch into reflex of the imagination. Reverie, a sense of possibilities fill with concrete. It marbles. I throw dirt on his grave, and all I want is to hear him eating cereal again. The allure of Muse is shirk. Like Adderall, like cheat code, a prayer that something easy will emerge, replace the work required to make love or art or peace or thin or smart or trill or public health interventions on Indian reservations. Muse banks on fantasy, the thrill of sassing every moment, like stride through Newcomb, graffiti parks of Prince Lauerberg, huff the steps of Sacre-Cœur, past the gate chain, the cops, to the bluffs, the bald part of the park for the fireworks. We see them miles off in all directions, speeding through Cartagena Tempest, V of brown water like wings, water solution inside when car door opens, Ron Medellin. We clay cake mud volcano halfway to Barranquilla, poutine dizzy, we stumble back to the mile end flat on Boulevard San Joseph West with the foam bed we crash into, cheek print on the glass, walking headfirst like babies. Carry me. We only ever have first conversations. Shoot the shit. When I say, Muse, tell me about your family, I'm rocking alone again. Stay insane, sunset on the Seine past 10 p.m. at the table with the bottles in the loud bar on the Lower East Side. It doesn't matter what we say as long as we laugh in so all our teeth earn their keep. Anytime heavy, rum along. Thus the point of rum into the city. Flit is fun in flit moments. flick rain tips on eyelids and such. Constant flights of tequila, ball and yawn, flitting apartment to apartment, on and off sidewalks, shouldering out of people's way, flit muse every 2 weeks, the kick of new, speedy feeling, the unrelenting city. The deathless is wear and tearing me down. Have you ever just wanted to slow? Stop. Settle. This is incompatible with Muse. Settling down is Gerard. Gerard is what we call collecting the landmarks, building up the map of broken milk trucks, rounding the mountains of Mexico City. The lights unfold for us, and pointing to the map at dinners, telling the story instead of living the story. This is rent to own. This is grown. This is feet planted in a squat with a kettlebell. Let the dust catch up. Wind marches along the Hudson. Squint into a house with a crib, a paper route, a lawn, and the other trappings of the normal life. To be quite honest, I find that kind of wretch-worthy. Indian people tell time by funerals, my brother says. Mom rocks, nods her head. Brother plants new trees in the front yard. Something to do. Likewise, I'm happy to rake leaves. The wind whips in an unseasonable chill. For 7 days, I chop vegetables, call my father, wrap Pendleton blankets around our legs while watching ghost adventurers, hoarders, tiptoe our tongues around the past few months. Shorter hair, sighs. She lines the piano's fallboard, smiles by the face of the clock, warms the walls by the front and back doors. At times, Mom stops talking. Out in the mountains, animal howls in the sky flatten and diffuse. I forgot silence, like hands cupped over ears, huge swaths of valleys of silence, makes its own skin. I squint into a trailer, cup hands around my eyes to see inside, see a me sitting with a map I'd made and tacked up and little relatives pointing at the pics all around the walls, dust swirling on the bullet roof overhead. They asked me to tell them stories. Tell us about Brooklyn. Oh my God, that was you, Uncle Teebs. Oh my God, that was Uncle Teebs. Oh my God, you were so beautiful. I look down to my plump fingers, belly resting on top of marshmallow thighs. My vanity never left. I just got accustomed to resignation. I talk dance parties, all the writers and artists, the musicians, my old roommates, muses, lost loves, the apartments, the shitty apartments. Oh my God. This one time we lived next to a chicken slaughterhouse. On the roof, the roaches brought the rats, and the rats brought the feral cats, and the cats brought raccoons. Brooklyn Menagerie, we called it. Sunsets on the East River, sweaty warehouse dance parties. Pull out a dusty magazine. A poem miracle of mine. You were a poet, Uncle Teebs? Later, I pull the peach curtains closed. Spring's grown. I hit the pillow. I am alone. That's also garbage talk. Future is a delusion, dilute with reflexive imagination. I put on rain slicks. The end. First conversations are ideal. You can be anyone for a few hours. Once, for a party, I am Mariah Carey's backup singer. I have this period of brief but intense affairs for the past 15 years. Lips marble from sudden heavy hickeys in the space between new strangers, but it's better than knowing it would rain when he came home, valley behind the shadow of the mountain. It's over. A handing over. I tell Piano Man, some mates aren't men meant for BF work. I tell Baltimore, it's okay you didn't love me in my love season. I tell Big Arm's ugly face, I'm with Art Fag. I tell Art Fag, I'm with Boyo. Boyo tells me a Dire Straits line, it's just that the time was wrong, Juliet. I tell Short George I wrote you a poem and lose it. I tell Big Ginge I physically can't take it. I tell Q-tip Dick off with high tide candor. Boy Eeyore, full Eeyore face says, I've been thinking the same thing. As an actor looks at me, the door, then back to his TV. Pompadour says, come over. Nothing more. Battery breath gives me crabs. Baby says whatever I tell him. Dimples stops. Lil Burps puts his hands in my back pocket at a record store while buying Diana Ross on vinyl, but for some reason I stop. Jumpy says snuggle, and Party Photog says cuddle, and I don't traffic in euphemisms for fuck, so stop. Tall Paul takes off his socks, and I'm in that phase where I can't respect a man after I've seen his feet, so stop. Slim Jim, Crazy Carl, Perfume Guy, Frosted Tips, Ballet Bottom, Chuckles, Hardware, Brainy, Munchie, Herbalife Guy, Barfer, Holy Moly, Scabies Scare, Steven, etc. Ghost? Or do I? Fohawk and I stop without telling each other. That's the best, most victimless. Pancake Butt and I sit across the car on the train and don't feel pressure to say hi. That's the best. Dreamboat explains why he doesn't want to see me again. And that's the best because, as Max says, there's no incentive to be a good person dating in the city. I'm in the city. Am the city. The rush is what I covet. The noise of constant motion, curled in bed on the res. A sense of options. I'm starting to swell up, feasting on boys, ideas, and language and chips of technology, sometimes real food. So much is left to interpretation. The jag you think is a dagger as the man says faggot, but really says father to someone out of the range of your thought process. This is how shoulders scoop and stay scooped. Feeling eyes upon you, walk to the door. If walk into the JMZ summertime and you want to show your legs, take Skulls to Lorimer, cross to the other side of the park. If you walk parkside, men on the benches will call you faggot, spit towards you, and sometimes even follow close behind. If you take Montrose to Lorimer, it's almost good, but nearing the turn is the stretch where men sit on lawn chairs to watch the baseball games in the park, and they will throw bottle caps, call you a fag if you walk alone. With a friend, you'll forget to pay attention. The walk to Greenpoint is fine until about Norman. Stay on the even side. Otherwise, you pass the red-faced Polish men who will bark at you, sometimes jut their chins, make kissy faces, and spit. Cross to Metropolitan at Lorimer or to the side of Graham, to the right of Skulls, and never between 3 p.m. and 4 because, teens. When walking with Jess or Chantal or Wilkes or Lauren or Maud or Kat or Tyler or Teresa or Ruby or Allison, they intone walking with you, 6'2", feels safer. They get less shit and spit and suck from men. And while you think, goddamn, my faggot ass makes men hesitant, while you of course oblige, while you realize this makes you more that hated man thing, this is a safety exchange. With friends, you think less about a jeer and more, well, then what did he say? These rules are subject to change at any time, and you may be hit or spit on, eye bulging, broken nose, stabbed, pounced, and left for dead, Chelsea, Clearview, Rainy Day spit on, DeWade Reed, Delancey, Lower East Side spit on, man on the subway shouting Bible verses at you from across the way, white spittle in the corners of his mouth, feeling eyes upon you. Exploding red. Walk to the next car. Wipe your face off, bitch. There is a kind of power in being reviled for just being, in the sense that my scooped shoulders, the snake of my neck, my bare legs strikes frenzy. I scare them. Something in the lumen jolts, terror or desire, hate so swole it destabilizes something about their everyday, something bubbling, shuddering under the brushstroke of stars. The point at which muscle isn't flexing so much as reflecting work, that's not power I have, but have been granted. It's more marble than I can handle, more ambient fear than I want swirling in my wake. Gay bar. Stupid fucking gay bar. Stupid fucking panic attack when boy makes eye contact in the fucking gay feel of an open, low grassland surrounded by tall pines, the neck rolling side to side. There is surely something stalking, and knowing where it comes from will help the running away. It's summer sometimes, and leave me alone, Muse. Muse is finally giving me what I want. My hard-won sense of self surrenders through the sieve of your attention every time. What I mean is for 15 years, I give all of myself to every man I meet, mostly because I have nothing worth holding. I want to get lost, to merge, and be someone else. I look into the water. A rolling exact me. I promise to find or make something worth holding on to. I'm giving it to you. What I mean is, guard yourself. Erect fences, crop a mound onto the bald land, sing a Beyoncé song at karaoke with your friends, envision consequences and make decisions. Loose needles of light from the dark tent within. Who is everybody in the sentence, everybody hates you? Open the book. Find the song. I flush at the prospect of getting to know you because one of us will die first, and I develop a taste for sparkling, fizzy rosé, great big bottles of incapacitation. I run hard until dark stars blast away. Tar sands, Pine Ridge, Ferguson, the Tea Party, stolen Nigerian schoolgirls, gay marriage, Gaza, Kim Kardashian, Tim Lugos, fundamentalism, plane shot from the sky over Ukraine, the bodies in summer sun rot for days. A 6'5" white actor / personal trainer asks, do I feel connected to the land because I'm Indian? I haven't learned to live with everything yet, much less myself. So I'm sorry for texting at 1:30 in the AM. I meant that for me. Come over, Teebs. I can't with anyone until I find something inside worth holding and guarding and time. Muse says, your ideation of me is scary because I'm a construct of your imagination. I'm afraid when you get to know me, you won't like me. Not because I'm unlikable, but because I'm not you. Lol. Never tell a secret to a river. My ex Adam, the first man, asks, what am I training for? Why do I run 30 miles a week? Duh. It's because unless someone pulls a gun, I'll always be bounding away, straight out of my skin, back to the big banging back into the dark pocket of bad girls by MIA. Literally, no one can catch up to me. Plus, I can eat all these ice cream sandwiches. I produce 30 chipwiches from my bag. And all these ribs? Hardy har har, Adam says. You can always eat ice cream sandwiches. We're gonna have this argument again. Adam eats an ice cream sandwich. I eat all the ice cream sandwiches. This is basic science. Adam's body was made by God. It's always looked kind of divine. My body is a scumbag. My landlord is a dick. Adam was never given peanut butter cups and onion rings so he would stop biting his cousins. I mean, there's no grocery store on the res. Adam has an apple and maybe some juice. Upkeeping the palace of Adam is a dream. Taking out the trash in my shitty place above the chicken slaughterhouse and below another chicken slaughterhouse is defeating. One morning, I roll my ankle. Do I keep going? One morning, I want to wake up and trust you're staked to life, but I keep hearing your voice on the phone. Just calling to say goodbye. Just started a blood bowl. Just lowly passing on, and keep you on the phone while I call the cops on the other line and keep your body until they bang on your door. Then blur. So yeah, I hate you for wanting to die on the internet. A catapult, not a convo. An IRL on the beach, planted in the sand. Eyes planted on the line above the waves once named owl. Sparks of the friend I love, set and settle and dim. In the posthumous documentary, he talks about the future, but I know how he dies. Des says to me, he says, "You keep giving me all this fear, and I don't want it." Mic in hand, I shake on stage. Pundits and politicians wag their grave intonations. I lift the house of language, allow doubt to whoosh in. This method of cooling, antidote for heat stroke, is my inheritance. Papa scrawls with his stick into the red dirt before my bus comes in the mornings. We play word games every day. In this analogy, I'm the earth, my dad is the ozone layer, and the sun is the United States. He deflects most of the harmful rays. Me and Mama play hot potato with English. Quick, name all the words you know that start with M. Mom, Monday, my butt. She still likes to tell that one. Writing is created for accounting, and still does, but is also a bulging storage space. Fuck, I'm a hoarder. I give my books away. Pundits and politicians quiver over immigration. Humans often followed birds and herds, and in Hawaii, they planted taro to stay alive. I like to keep trying new ways of being staked, which gives me context to your outlet, the internet. We know wanting to die isn't the coup in Thailand, and Muse isn't Syria or Ebola or Croc de Chevalier. At my best, I have the luxury of speaking for myself. I becomes medium. I recoil at we. Now we know. We feel love when. We believe the earth was flat until. We stir with heavy feeling because. I wipe my muddy feet on the love seat of we. Unless I'm talking about you and me. Kumeyaay's knew a rounded earth based on the curve of stars. Or didn't. I'll never know. It's a dark part inside me. Books are fallible, towers of letters with the power you give them. It's heartbreaking to watch your pillars fall. Watch the crops dry up and die, house set on fire, forced to dig up your dead, to literally dig up the old graveyard and move with them onto a stone hill where nothing that grows can live. Penned in like cattle. Approaching scientism, universalism, a supremacy of any given thought process strikes me a hammer of dark spots. America never intended for me to live, so the we never intended to include me. There's my body, and then there's your body. And sometimes it's work to wake up and convince mine to stay alive. We don't all have to like the same things or actually fully understand each other to appreciate the complication. Your subway system, your fiction versus poem, your egg bagel on the walk home, my muse, my love of headphones because chatter of the city faggot, my chatter from the res, cousin is in the hospital, send prayers. My chattering phone keeps me in crush, keeps me so in touch with the latest Beyoncé. My lotion keeps my legs shiny, face open to chatter and spit. I want Magic Bullet, but Muse is growing. Sure he is. May one day be prospect. And I want parents, but I know death. And I wanted poem to lead me different. But poems end. I'm led tight breaths back to the river of IRL. Everything piercing sips of light, Sober poetry, no sun without shadow, no night without annihilation, no morning without assimilation, no star to row towards, no myth to speak for us, just bodies. IRL accountability, privacy of honest delivery, privacy policy, turning from muse, son of answers, towards audacity of body, reflection crest towards abstract concept gutting, panic unsure of, fumbling, squeezing, diff unnameable, this is garbage. Goddess. I'm loafing with the great poets of tomorrow. Fireworks pop fizz in all directions, but being in a backyard surrounded by brownstones, you only get the thunder and the shudder. War outside the walls. But we've liquor and Mariah, and we're poets, so we talk about temporal locations of audio trauma, and we talk about margaritas. We blab about the battle from the backyard. Language is history, polyphony of conquest. So is absence of language. Junction. Waiting for the right word to emerge out of a pool, Little Mermaid style, hair flip, arc of water. Grandma presses her forehead, little hands against the back window of the government van. Her parents disappear in a cloud of red dirt, swifted from the res. Stroke of legislation to be civilized. They cut her hair, forbid her from speaking Kumeyaay, forbid heathen religion, say everything she knows is wrong, profane. She is wrong, profane. Her body, her face, her voice, her language, the crinkle in the corner of her eyes when Kitty chases a dust bunny. All of it wrong. Kill the Indian, save the man. So ashamed, so deep, it arrives when I do. It waits for me. It pours me a drink, texts me. One day, she stops eating. One night, she steals an onion from one of the nuns, tells me it's the sweetest thing she ever tasted. She wastes away. Confounded, the school sends her home. Boarding schools are not supposed to have mortality rates. Grandma survives a little, but not everything Kumeyaay is gifted to my dad for fear it'll be ripped from him with the same swift. She makes it back, but not everything makes it back home. I search for it in a poem. Nona says, "You're still sick and coming to school?" She looks down into me. Glasses slide halfway down the bridge of her nose. She uncaps a mini vodka bottle. We wait for the bus. I say, "I have a test." "Oh, uh-huh." She slides her glasses up. They rest. She downs the mini booze, wipes her mouth with the sleeve of her red flannel. "Nobody comes to school for no tests. Who you got a crush on, eh?" My dermatologist sighs. "Oh, what we did to the poor Native Americans. Now they got a raw deal." She looks into me for recognition. Chantal says some white people want racial scolding, and the thought of that makes me withholding. Some people want scolding. Others never really seem to reflect at all, elbow along, accumulating. I'm shamed, suggesting reflexive. This requires a ton of voices, attenuation to particular waves of thought. Crash, crashing, crashing, crash, crashing, crash, crashing, crash, crash, crashing, crash, crash. What if we just sat here, looked into owl, and didn't hate ourselves? Looked into the spoonfuls of light, and they shine back. Well, that's part of the problem, wanting all that shine. You're just getting older. Everyone does, then doesn't. I'm loafing with the great poets of tomorrow, backyard gazpacho, 4th of July style. There are fireworks, but we keep looking at each other, which is better than just looking at ourselves. Can't stop the latch in my mouth busted, can't stop laughing. Learn to moonwalk, enjoy fresh watermelon, cilantro margs, a sly swipe for texts from muse I'm not getting. The fireworks start the building. Yesterday, I learned how to moonwalk. Today, I ate a whole pie for lunch. I'm a pattern maker. Some lines stop. Some people make strides. Others wait until the pain is life-threatening before getting the infection taken care of. Some people pass away. I'm nothing without Muse. Nalini says moonwalking is a swiping optical illusion. I keep falling over. It's pretty audacious to take a step because you're always stepping on something, moving in a direction instead of chin tap calculation. Feeling eyes upon you. Cross Lorimer to the B48 and wait. Disaster is always right around the corner. You deserve a beach day. I miss Muse more than I want to be thoughtful. I want to go to Rippers. Deegs works at Rippers until Sandy rips her into the tide, plank by plank. But now, Rippers is back in business. You find what you're looking for, snooping on someone's Instagram. It's scientific in the sense that studies are erected within a fathomed set of parameters and funded by money that, like humans, needs to reproduce itself. You find what you're looking for. Coffee, red wine, low fat, etc. Studies show benefits. Then, studies show bullshit. This flip-flop is central to the feed. This chase is called watching you presume new conclusions negate ancient ones. Belief guillotines down your face. I'm lost. You find what you're looking for, and I'm lost. The route spirals like I haven't lived here 10 years. What I mean to say is, my dad guides tanks through minefields after he's drafted into the jungles of Vietnam. He studies maps all night. Maps of California, the USSR, the res line the hallways of our house. Geography so deep into me. I see what's ahead and all around, a pulsing dot through the Google map of our lives. So you can imagine how damn hell-ass frustrating it is to be lost in Brooklyn. Blind particle in a cloud of interstellar dust. Oblong vapor shape, familiar as a blank face in a dream, steps into the bus from... You've a couple OkCupid messages. FB, Insta, BFF party one time? Bar backyard, maybe. Ambient recognition, like scanning past the soup on a taco shop menu, but don't say hi. There's a golden orbit around a star where liquid water is keen. Instead of frozen, interlocked, or admixed into gases, a Three Bears situation. Similarly, sometimes you're not looking to get wifed up. You just want to fuck, get slapped in the face, and not hug. But in your own bed, not with a total stranger, and sometimes on the regs. And why not? Let's order a pizza afterward. This golden orbit is called tender, casual fun, and not an orbit for everyone. Nor can everyone occupy the muse orbit, or the mentor orbit, or the nodding high across the bus and back to your day orbit. Then again, some satellites generate heat from inside. Liquid lakes lie just under the ice. Some extremophiles, the hidden waves of life in deep pockets. No, this particular orbit is not hospitable for life. Feeling eyes upon you, play candy puzzle app game. Ignoring each other is merciful for everyone. On a day like bright watermelon, you take out the earbuds, say, "Hi, I think I met you. It was a party maybe? You're friends with Danny. I saw your Tumblr. Oh God, was it Grindr? Sorry, I drink a lot." And he says, "Actually, you might know me from Project Runway Season 5. Live visibly is terrifying. Pinprick in the air rush of Arctic snuff, I will die of exposure. Gases siphon into atmosphere admixture. My brother loves coming to Times Square when he visits. The rush of life all around, but living in the feed grinds you down. Driver roll up the partition is what I call keeping on your sunglasses inside, saving something for the self. I can't write poems the way they must come to others. I can't use words like tamp or tincture. And that makes me feel like a chump, fraud, fool. I await rebirth in the Wayne's World soundtrack. Hunker into salt and vinegar chips, TLC. The spiral of comfort leads you in and out safely. Every day is like every day when you creep. Oh, I. Tide lets go of the land as I jump in for a swim. Sandy belly flop, red chin. Thank God I do everything alone. The owl doesn't deign. I want to scream, "You're a hungry predator!" I text Gerard. Nothing yet. Nothing yet, nothing yet, nothing yet, nothing yet, nothing yet. Arms and legs kick, swirl, swish when sleep finally sets. I'm done with the moon. It's a phase. I love Leos. I hate grammar. It's grandma. Anyone who has a club, or I can't say foot, I couldn't be part of. Wait, let's go clubbing. What? Some nights I still go out. Fading ecological niche, shook like the sky in thunder. It's dead summer. Everyone's shiny. Lines for the bar get longer. Lines in my face beating time like the sun. A friend of a friend touches my face. You're never going to age. Which means I look younger than I am, but also I'm like, did she just thinner curse me? Lines are so industrious. Always going somewhere. Sleeping alone entombs me to Netflix and palpitations. I miss being cruised. I am a sweet, authentic person. I was a dream, glowing and shrinking and growing inside ancestor survival instincts. I can show you how the earth shudders before it knows it's dead, so who do I have to blow to get some damn sex over here? I'm saying my land was jammed with brawny English, and I'm still single. I'm not fond of men, chinning dreams in poems or in bars, but I'm Uhura in a Hunger Games arena. You're Anaconda-era Ice Cube, and I have a crush on you. Museless, I'm useless. I have Grindr and clean water, once believed in God and comment boards. Live a little, says the tarot card passing out on top of me. Like balloons, I dreamed of one day wearing taffeta. I'm dumped for Roy Ayers. I resurrect to Karaoke Tuesdays. I Anthony Kiedis, Janet Jackson, and never miss anybody. Something tall and human at the lip of the bar. Men are annoying, refusing to run in a downpour. I am bellow, tickle, ellipses. I'm hidden waves of life along the outer banks of our debate. Giggle the kernel of pain into a cry later situation. I'm lines in a mirror, smile backwards. Is it wrong to say I'm bitter that there's one surviving native speaker on my res? It's time we switch to water, you say, in a fit of sobriety. It's hard to see anything but blood in the tap, knowing ancestors died to keep green lawns over desert sand. It's dead summer. Every lover a river of sweat in my bed. You look into the current, wonder at the bank what people think. A strong swirling results. I say stay. I plead if that's your thing, buoyed by pillows, by knees. I double back onto you, send your nerves shooting like a mine, understanding new terms. Hold up! That's the future piping through that I'm becoming attuned to. I put my cheek to the wall. I call out for invoke if that's your thing. Muse, goddess, take my palm. Muse, fucking tell me. I squeeze my yoga term, noggin. Let go of Paisley freeways, let go of jingle dress and basketball, let go of train tunnel where something human colluded is still cooling, let go of fearing summer's downturn, let go of significant swells that write themselves, let go of climate control, let go of stone mountains remembering the world rounds. Would that saying we're doing, invoking we're curing, cutting, we're outing. I'd have spelled myself home, spelled the ruptures, sutures 1,000 times by now. I have a problem opening my mouth all the way. The full and resonant tone can't escape until you've opened up a little bit more. Try yawning. My singing teacher asked, do I have TMJ? No, Pam, I say. I have an athletic mind with crushing dominion over my body, NBD. People Love casting pathologies. I sing super high. That's crazy, she says. You were castrati in another life. No, Pam. In another life, I have hundreds of horses. Ferry Kumeyaay children to school, men and women to fiestas between reservations, weave dry leaves and reeds and branches into baskets, loop darker strips into lightning bolts and the cloud patterns that roll around our sacred mountain. I live in the valley of the captains, sing bird, the epic song cycles that narrate how we got to the valley and what we passed on our way. Time to time, I scout from the mountain peak, light a fire in my feet when the Spanish flood into the vineyards. We retreat into the crevice of the earth, but the storm, it never blows over. At the mission, I learned to read, grow food for the priest, scrub our shackles, for the Bible tells me so. I never liked church, but I love midnight mass. Love singing lessons after 8 p.m., love night writing, the ceremony of nighttime, the cauldron of echoes, smells, the earth's shadow over itself curates an intimate thought process, a witchy kind of attention. The sun is too canine for me, drooling and jumping and expects thanks just for being too much into everything. I look up at blinking string lights crisscross in the sky. What the fuck are you doing with your life? Less Mary Oliver and more Mary Magdalene, in that language is a garden tended by succeeding generations. Flowers watered, weeds pulled, but words change and rules change. How hate was pronounced more like hot. Really seething, seeing something adds to its poetry. And then conquerors invade the narrative and just mow the whole thing, my colonial mind. So I'm at this party shouting over, dubstep about Mary Magdalene and historical revisionism I heard on this comedy podcast instead of the changing nature of frog and Kumeyaay trickster stories because they're gone and I never learned them. Mary in the sense that you live your life and after you die, writing lives on, says whatever it wants about you. Like leaving a party alone and catching the train, and remember every dumbass thing you said? Everyone hates you. They could help it, but you can't. You keep shitting. I look up and fall down because the distance between Bushwick and the North Star smacks my equilibrium across the face. People survive all the time through true horrors. Holocaust, Middle Passage, 1492, like, how? I'm one of the weak ones. I cry at Beyoncé songs. I see a young mom drunk on the subway, throw up blueberries or black beans, and her kid's son holds her hand, waves away strap hangers, forgets his happy birthday candle on the seat. The doors close at their stop. I cry for a straight week. The seam of my skin bursts open routinely. It's a condition. In the valley I lived in for thousands of years, in traditional times, I'm sure I would have been a mourner, called on to cry because I do it all the time. So I sit on the leg of my don't write it soul for hours to feel nothing. Do we deserve privacy in the age of selfies? Pardon if I don't say it muse for a moment, if we're just giving it all away. Redacted, delete status, unlike, yes, you always deserve privacy. In fact, I think you should have more. Stop fucking posting about veggies. Truly America's most disgustingly perky word. And pics of your shitty jewelry tree. Just because you bought it online one time when you had a vodka soda with your Ambien doesn't mean I want to see it. Everything is so extra. It gets hard to know what to actually give a fuck about. It's okay to be alone versus I'm gonna die alone. Is Muse good or bad? Is the needless dichotomy of a foster god. It's hard to dislodge him, and scraping away the remnants they haven't all winded or rained away takes work. Theistic fate jammed up in my crannies, literal church imposed onto the foothills of my landscape, whispering, I know most of you didn't make it, but it's all a part of God's plan. I whisper to myself, is Muse good or bad? Thinking in this way makes me, pardon the expression, want to kill myself. Good, bad, right, wrong, binary is another weapon of the oppressor, justifies conquest, and is a method to ensure survivors, if there are any, will always question their worth to literally just live. Today I'm smiling with the great poets, and tomorrow I cry in line at the bank. Grinder. Hey man, what's good? I don't fucking know. Some thoughts are all you. Gigi says this movie is terrible. Duh. I'm jealous. I never think anything is terrible. Duh. Take Portland, please. Too much permission. I don't really care to sit with Robert Lowell, and I will cross the street if I see teens, but nothing is ever terrible. Duh. This feels terribly dull. White cloud in a field. A bomb goes off somewhere in the world. I'm folding my bomber jacket with sweaty August throttling me. Finally convinced the threat of polar vortexes totes past, but I'm wrong so often we're basically BFFs. Right in me? We never really spoken before. Beautiful alien. Lit from all angles. Tells the funny jokes at parties. I crackle, show off, because sometimes we're in the same group at the parties. We're smoking on the deck. Music thumps from the inside. Right never looks directly at me. Right has a crush on me, right? I am too intimidating. Or am I garbage? Right? Can't even bother. I dance big, I resume, bend over to pick up a quarter, and once or twice, right, nods. Thin lips eking a sort of semi-smile. I am entertaining in this tank top. I run all these miles. I'm not dewy young, but I have scruff, kinda. I'm friends with the coolest girls. Right. I want mad, passionate, constant lava. I'll hold your hand on water, nestle chins on chins on chins, dizzy, or just because you break like scales over me. I'm brave. We're set in jello, stuffed into carpets, fall on top of each other like snow. Gentle, and always a different body. We live through our bodies. Into the force we started as, animus. But you stub sig, tell another joke. I get a sandwich at the deli on my way home. My singing teacher says, go! I stand, hands vined into each other. But is it safer for the voice to tremolo in Italian? To belt in Mandarin? To clear your throat in Aramaic? She blinks. Forget that. Learn how to get out of your own way. She plays the scales, sings them. Go! I miss the beat, but the mind is so photosynthetic, you know. She blinks. The shine when someone hears you but's listening to themselves. Think low, if you have to. Vertical. Light. Then don't think at all, for God's sake. I flush like faucets that don't shut. The struggle is real on my T-zone. I'm friends with all the coolest girls. They know something I don't. I'm a killer because of what's going into my body. And I wonder if that input, the don't say piranhas of don't say biting self-criticism will ever change. That's... Okay, that's cool, Pam says. Conjure a garden. But you can't be thought to sing like Kelly Clarkson. Since you've been gone, blast through the sound system at Urban Outfitters where I try on black jeans in secret. Don't tell anyone I'm at Urban Outfitters, got it? They sell Native American shit and I have a reputation. Like Narragansett? How fucking disgusting. Naming a beer after an Indian tribe? That company is pure scum. I mean, I'll have a Gansett because that shit's tasty cheap, but I have at least the good sense to hate myself. These black jeans don't make me feel like garbage because I've been running, but also I don't feel anything from the waist down because they're laid down to zip up tight. The stars are anxious. What version of yourself do you see when you close your eyes? New pants, like new glasses, like new haircut. You walk around like a boss, bird-chested for a day or two, like everything right. then always come back to you. James is hot, pinches the neck of his tee, flutters it fast to let air up into the Manhattan of his chest. Tonight is the 3rd anniversary of the day Amy Winehouse died. I still can't look at pics of her without crying. What gives? Or rather, what saves? Jesus saves or doesn't. Art saves or doesn't. Money saves or doesn't. I'm spent. Amy Winehouse died? Asks James. I blank, turn to Boyd. They, the gendered they, smoke lots of weed, so we talk about consciousnesses flowing through bodies into new bodies, impermanence, and knowing each other 100 years ago. The thing about they is resisting the fallacy of knowledge. A kernel, a mooring fact that people need in order to know you, bouncing off body into sprightly idea, which I'm not altogether comfortable with existentially, but discomfort, instability of terminology, curiosity, respect, faith, new kinds of sense, a shape forms around wisps in the darkness, attracting stars, sits next to you. These are the currency of our exchange. Oh, it's very star-flung. In college, in the library, I leaf madly through this cross-indigenous anthropological survey that claims extra-gendered identities for a smattering of tribes, including mine, and I wonder about two-spirit traditional roles. How would it have sounded coming from my grandma instead of white anthropologists? I sit swaddled in the beanbag in the 24-hour reading room and shake and just believe. Whatever Kumeyaay word for they, Catholicism erased, assimilationist homophobia, a word I'm not attuned to because I'm hearing slap, cat, scream, thump, thump, party outside my window. I am the window of my tribe. I lift the house of goddess. I am a new ward, draining, bleeding out. Hello, I sit down. Is this ad relevant to you? We would like to enhance your ad-watching experience. You're a garbage person if you can't take a good photo is the underlying message of gay culture in Brooklyn, the concept of fame in the United States. I hate having my picture taken, I say to this photographer at this party, because every damn party has to be photographed, otherwise it doesn't happen, and because the parties are so boring, if people weren't posing, there would be nothing to do but drink. It's too loud for convos, and they won't let you dance in the city. He says, "Oh, come on." I say calmly, "No." And he asks, "Is this an Indian thing? Like, does a pic steal your soul or something?" I want to crumple him up in the palm of my hand, but I guess it is an Indian thing in the sense that I'm Indian and I'm doing this thing. Posing for pics is like not being able to stare into the sun for too long, but kind of the opposite. Blank black lens crystallizes the uncertainty within. Is this good or bad? Is a sentence in a fight? And I hate confrontation. Why do I have to take sides? Switzerland has the strictest privacy laws on the planet, and I have the flyest tank tops in America. Somehow I feel good about it. In Kumeyaay, there's a concept for in-between. Not knowing how to smile, how you look bent over a book. Waking up on either coast feels the exact same. Sometimes you wake up not knowing how old you are, and if Johnny is down the hall in a robe making eggs. Future leaders were whooshed away from the tribe in a sort of boreal way to feel the greater world, stone hills, etc. This is back in the day. This in-between is like gangbusters for Muse. It's like catnip to Muse. It's a throb of light in between the two of us, just the two of us, you and I. I rub Muse, my neck. I'm clenching my jaw for like 20 minutes waiting for this damn photographer to take this damn pic. In between Kumeyaay and Brooklyn. That it has a word. Even if the word is lost. Even if the word doesn't exist. Even if I'm lying to you. Is breath tethering. Opens a throb of light inside me. I don't have the option of keeping my God alive by keeping her name secret because the word for her is gone. Keeping secrets is not possible, so I give everything away. I'm out here all alone trying to wad up enough obsessions to replace her, and with it, my God, I never got to know her, but strangely, sometimes when I'm cry laughing at that scene in Steel Magnolias, or I can't sing the part in that Beyoncé song at karaoke where the music gets all soft and I try to croon, "Oh, baby, kiss me." Maud has to take the mic because the feeling gets bigger than my voice, and the feeling, I think it's her. My God's shadow walking down a hallway away, but like I said, I lost my voice and don't know her name. Maybe it's Washi or Pemu, says this clairaudient to me apropos of nothing, but I'll never know for sure, so I can't call after her. And then I'm like crying at a Beyoncé song. Are you kidding me, Teebs? Get it together, bitch! My dad grows his hair long. Black waves cascade down his back because knives crop the ceremony of his mother's hair at the Indian boarding school. I cut mine in mourning for the old life, but I grow my poems long. A dark reminder on white pages, a new ceremony. I grab the mic back from Maud, flip for a new song to flash across the karaoke screen, fist breath low and ready. And James is finally following me back on Instagram, so I take a somewhat risque selfie, send a DM, and right after message, oops, oh my God, I meant to send that to someone else. Gosh, so embarrassed. Oops. He responds with a pic of his computer screen, his phone number on it. So we text, and he's like, come over. And I'm like, do you have AC? And he says, yes. And I straight up drop the mic and leave. The end.